Let's talk more about that, Rudy Giuliani. Being criminally charged in Georgia isn't the only trouble that is facing Giuliani, Trump's former attorney. CNN has now learned that even
Giuliani strapped for cash. The only motherfucker that has enough cash is the one that is the president, or was the president. Still my president, brother. Hell yeah. And all of the other co-conspirators are broke. Kind of makes the situation a little bit worse for the main guy. At a certain point, you have to make sure, even organized crime understands this, in order to make sure that the RICO charges are as difficult as possible to implement, you have to make sure that your hitmen are properly juiced. If you don't grease the wheels, if you don't actually defend them, if you don't actually pay for their legal services, their legal counsel, well, then you're kind of screwed because they can cook you, even if they don't want to. If there's a guy who knows this better than anybody else, as I covered yesterday, it's Rudolph Giuliani. He made his name in New York as being a prosecutor that prosecuted organized crime in New York with RICOs. Wonderful situation.
Before this indictment, Giuliani is staring down hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal bills and more related to his work for Donald Trump after the 2020 election. Still, Giuliani isn't shying away from attacking the DA in Georgia, who he'll soon see in court.
She's a politician and not a lawyer, not an honest, honorable lawyer. This is a ridiculous application of the racketeering statute.
I would know it. I've used it many times.
Probably no one that knows
I gotta pee, hold on.
better than I do. This is not meant for election disputes. I mean, this is ridiculous what she's doing. Also, I don't know if she realizes it because she seems like a pretty incompetent, sloppy prosecutor.
Let's get over to CNN's Caitlin Polans. Caitlin, tell us more about this reporting that you've uncovered about what the current state of Rudy Giuliani's financial situation is.
Yeah, Kate, Rudy Giuliani doesn't even have the money to respond to some of the demands that are being made upon him as these lawsuits related to the 2020 election move forward. So we saw some court filings this week. There's even a hearing happening right now in New York in the defamation case that Smartmatic, the voting machine company, had filed against Giuliani for making false statements about them and the 2020 election. And in that case, he has all of his electronic records held by an archiving company, a data holder called TrustPoint. And that company needs to have him pay for searches so that he can turn over his records in these lawsuits, not just the Smartmatic lawsuit, but in others. And in this court filing on Monday, he doesn't have $15,000 or somewhere between $15,000 and $23,000 to pay them to run the search he needed to run. He also doesn't have the money to keep his electronic records hosted by this company. They charge about $20,000 a month, every month, to keep his records active and alive so that he can use them in these lawsuits to defend himself. On top of that, he has other bills. He just had a court order recently where...
Bro, how the hell do you have $57,000 in unpaid phone bills? What kind of phone sex was he engaging in? God damn, dude. This has got to be a scam, right? There's no shot this is like, why is it $20,000 monthly fee to host electronic records? Like, how expensive is that? What the hell? Anyway.
He has to pay cell phone bills that went unpaid in 2020 related to his company. That is not a small amount either. And then there is also, on top of that, bills that he has to pay for sanctions, for other people's legal fees where he hasn't responded appropriately in these 2020 election lawsuits. So, Kate, it is a lot of money that he has to pay now. And that's just the start if he were to lose these lawsuits and also those criminal cases. That costs money to defend as well.
Yeah, I mean, if $57,000 in phone bills that have gone unpaid, I mean, you're right. That is no small amount. And that's just one little element of what he's up against. Great to see you, Caitlin. Great reporting. Thank you. Sarah?
Joining us now, Nick Ackerman, former assistant special Watergate prosecutor and former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. I'm going to start with this, and then we will also get to Giuliani.
We got a $30,000 phone bill from Verizon once, but that was for using 4 terabytes on a 20 gig data plan. How are you using 4 terabytes of data? What is happening? The amount, I mean, obviously that's for a company, right? But like even then, that's unimaginable. what kind of porn maximalist are you?
Why is Mark Meadows trying to move the case from state court to federal court?
Rudolph Giuliani's consultancy racked up $57,000 in unpaid phone bills after it failed and refused to pay its telco for 9 months. Consulting firm started by former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani owes more than $57,000 to a Georgia-based telco after failing to pay phone bills. A new judgment detailing the full cost was filed against Giuliani Partners LLC on Sunday in the New York State Supreme Court. Cost includes 9 unpaid monthly bills from 2020 that Momentum Telecom said the law firm failed and refused to pay. Giuliani Partners also owes a further $30,000 from an early termination fee. Oh, God. It's like, bro, the company is gross too. Okay. What is this? $30,000 early termination fee? Like, fuck you. I can't believe telecommunication companies are so goddamn gross that I end up finding myself siding with Rudolph Giuliani. Think about that. They are so gross. What are these business contracts, man? What the hell is going on? Judge Suzanne J. Adams affirmed on July 17th that the consultancy must pay $43,000 to the telco, along with interest accrued since May 2020. Sunday judgment calculated the interest at $12,000. Giuliani started his consultancy in 2002 and left 2007 amid questions of his failure to disclose some of the firm's clients. Wall Street Journal reported that one of his clients was Qatar, which received security advice from Giuliani. The revelation steeped Giuliani in controversy given Qatar's past ties with al-Qaeda. Giuliani was running for president at the time and had positioned himself as a post-9/11 guardian against Islamic terrorism. The firm, which typically provides security and management consulting services, played a role in former President Trump's 2020 re-election bid, receiving travel expenses of $63,000 from Trump's campaign and $76,500 from Make America Great Again PAC. Court records show Giuliani Partners has not filed any response to Momentum Telecom's debt filings. Incredible stuff, man. One of my accounting sites at an AT&T bill cost $34,000 for the last 6 months. What? I work for AT&T Business Care, and I can tell you $30,000 is nothing. I've seen customers place orders for $5,000 iPhones and accounts with $10 million plus dollar bills every month. What is happening? I like that I'm not even kidding, the entire structure is just on the business side. Like enterprise accounting just revolves around scams upon scams, it seems. It's like monopolies taking advantage of scams. The other businesses have the money to pay for it somehow. Everything's a racket, dude. 80% of the economy is upcharging businesses 200% and hoping they don't notice. It's a scam off, brother. It's a fucking scam off. Speaking of which, by the way, this is a grift off. Ollie London and Yeonmi Park also having their own version of a scam off. The face app is bugging out in that photo. Yeah. The only difference between Ollie London and Yeonmi Park operating like this is basically, let me tell you something. They're having a grift off too, but they're just like, they're doing it at a smaller level. You know what I mean? These are smaller level scams. The higher level you go, the more legitimate it becomes, and you turn into fucking AT&T or whatever this telecommunication company is. That's it. Low level scams are like top of the hour ad breaks. You know what I mean? 3 minutes of ads at the top of the hour, where if you no longer want to see those, ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that's me. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. You know, that's another way that you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Sakura Gore, thank you for allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads. 2 Korean queens, Ollie and Yeonmi. Oh, I saw this. Twitch will be launching the ability to prevent banned users from viewing your stream. Yeah, get fuck shitters. Oh, it's so good. I think it's great. It's a great idea. Haas, you're gonna lose half your viewers. It's all good. I'll take it. I would take the L if it makes it so that people think twice about trolling and shit. It won't do anything. They can just open an incognito apps. Yeah, but remember, one thing you have to remember is that not everyone is that dedicated. Surely I have that level of dedication among my haters. Okay, I do. However, not every single one is that dedicated, which is precisely the reason why any kind of situation that makes it a little bit harder to overcome is good. Also, if you're watching incognito, all of a sudden you can't clip chimp. You know what I mean? You have to literally be like screen grabbing every moment of the stream just so you can get a, cuddle buddy. Thank you for the 4 tier 1 gifted subs. What is this? It's so telling that two of conservatives' biggest voices are Yami, North Koreans push their trains by hand park, and Ollie, I paid to become Korean and then detransition to get on Fox News London. Easily 1 and 2 rightist pundits are an overtly lying grifter. I think the real interesting part about it is that they're both Korean. What does that say? The K-popification of the conservative movement is upon us. Just saying, like, you got like every facet of American existence is absolutely enamored in Korean culture and Korean pop culture specifically, and it's pretty chill. All these British though, you shut your mouth, Trap Advisor. Ollie London is Korean. He is Jimin. In my heart of hearts, he is still Jimin.
Well, I think the reason for doing that is to try and get it out of completely a Fulton County jury so that they have a broader jury to pick from that would include a lot more conservative Republicans from rural areas. I think that's the primary reason to do it. The reason Mark Meadows, I think, is a very strategic decision among the defendants. Of all of the defendants, he probably would, on the surface, seem to have the best chance to do this because he was basically a gopher for Donald Trump. So the question is going to be, when he goes before and files this in federal court, whether he was acting within the scope of his duties as Donald Trump's main person, as his secretary of whatever it is. I mean, he was the guy who was supposed to be running that. And I think what the prosecutors will do will come back with very hard evidence showing that Mark Meadows actually committed crimes. And that will do it because the standard here is whether or not he
they're boomers, bro. Come on.
was acting in the scope of his duties as chief of staff for Donald Trump. And certainly one of those duties is not committing crimes.
Oh my
Committing
God.
a crime is not within
They're like, Granddad, you're on TV.
his duties. In fact, this is the same thing that Judge
What is happening?
Hellerstein denied Donald Trump in the New York case.
Nick, I want to ask you about that because
This is exactly like my current housing situation because my dad has like 3 different phones or 2 different phones, and like they're all never on silent. And whenever there's one text message, whenever there's one text message that it receives, you hear it from like 2 different fucking phones. You know what I mean? And it's like what's happening? And how did you make it so that you have different notification sounds on different phones? Like, what's happening here?
because there are a host of Republicans making arguments that the state court should not be able to try a former president. But Trump is a private citizen, as is Mark Meadows.
Oh, yeah, he
so
never has it on him.
Argument that's
He never has it on him. It's always in like the kitchen or the living room. And if I were to ask him why, it's probably because it's too loud. So he doesn't want to have it near him to wake him up or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, it wakes me up. Or, you know, it bothers me. Why don't you put it on silent? Well, then he can't hear it. Typical dad shit.
we're seeing play out, or is this an actual legal argument that holds water?
Oh, no, it's an actual legal argument. There is a statute that permits government officials to remove cases to the federal court.
I didn't get
But there's a
ads. Please
standard
run
to
it
be met.
again.
And
No,
the
man.
standard is whether or not the actions that are
Sorry,
being
won't do it.
complained of were in the course of his normal duties in that official capacity. And that's where Mark Meadows is going to fall short. It's where Donald Trump fell short before Judge Hellerstein in New York, who found that paying money to a hush money to a porn star and covering it up by falsifying business records was not within the scope of the duties of the President of the United States. I think the same decision is going to be precedent here for the federal court to do the exact same thing and deny it. But basically, Mark Meadows is the stalking horse for the other defendants in the case.
to see if he gets it done, then they might follow suit. Nick Ackerman, thank you so much for all of that. And very interesting to note what happened in the state case in New York. You're saying that same kind of precedent may be set to keep the state case in Georgia from going to the federal courts. Appreciate you.
What do I always say? Racist people know how to make good pies.